looks like. Joining me now to talk more about the state of this race heading into that big presidential debate Monday, we got Steve McMahon. He's a Democratic strategist, and John Feehery, a Republican strategist. So Steve McMahon, let me start with you. In terms of Hillary Clinton's campaign, as we said, they got good news in the national polls this week. We got her up 6 in our new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. The SurveyMonkey online poll put her lead at 5 points. How good should the Clinton campaign feel right now versus how worried should they be heading into this debate?
I think they should feel really good for a couple of reasons. First of all, national polls tend to be kind of the leading edge, and state polls tend to be the trailing indicator. And you see her actually opening up her lead. The race is probably a structural 5-point race, a 5-point advantage for Hillary Clinton or a Democrat. You said it at the beginning. She starts off with 242 electoral college votes. I don't think Donald Trump is going to do something that nobody since hasn't happened since 1984, and that's win Wisconsin. So I think they should be feeling really good about where they are right now. Yeah, I mean, John Feehery, my takeaway when I sort of go through that exercise is Donald Trump needs a push here. He's got himself competitive, but he needs something that's going to move votes, especially in a state like Wisconsin. I guess a debate could do that. Do you think he's capable of getting the kind of performance, the kind of moment in this debate on Monday night that could do that?
Well, listen, if you look at this debate, you see that Donald Trump has to exceed the soft glow of low expectations, because no one expects him to do that well, and I think he's going to exceed those low expectations, so I think I will give him a bump. The other thing he's got to do, he's got to appear presidential in his tone and temperament, and that's going to be a big challenge for him. If you saw the last debates, the Republican debates, he really went after Jeb Bush. He really went after Marco Rubio. He can't do that with Hillary Clinton. If he tries to be, that aggressive with Hillary Clinton, I think it's going to backfire. Tone and temperament is so important for Donald Trump in this next upcoming debate.
Can he do? I mean, the other thing in these primary debates, he had 10 candidates on stage. He had commercial breaks. Donald Trump would get about a 2-minute burst of attention, then disappear for 20 minutes. I mean this seriously, because this is not a guy who talks about policy that much. Does he have 90 minutes of material to go through that's not going to get him into trouble?
Well, that's the big question. I think he does, but you know what? He's going to have to be an expert at the filibuster and find ways to have his big ideas spoken, big sentences that take a lot of time.
Yeah, and Steve McMahon, I was talking to somebody today, we're thinking back to the 2000 debates, Bush versus Gore, and the one thing that seemed to work in Bush's favor there, besides Al Gore sighing, was the expectations game. Going into that, it was seen as a big mismatch. Gore was this world-class debater. Bush had trouble getting the sentences straight sometimes. The expectations game worked in Bush's favor. Is that something Trump has to rely on here?
Well, I think John's right. I mean, I think the expectations are very low for Donald Trump, and probably they shouldn't be because, as we all know, he's quite a showman. I do, though, think it's going to be difficult for him to hold his temper. Hillary Clinton is not going to be an easy debate opponent. Donald Trump will get frustrated. He probably will overreact. And if he does, I think that's a danger, not only because it shows his temperament is not suitable to be president, but also because when you're doing that in a debate against a female candidate, it's more of a challenge than if you're doing it to Jeb Bush or somebody else. So I think he's got to walk a tight rope here. I think expectations for him are low. If his tone and temperament are right, that may be a win for him, but he does have to talk for at least 45 minutes, and if I were Hillary Clinton, I might just let him talk for more, because the more Donald Trump talks, the more trouble he gets into, and the better it is for the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Does she come with a plan, though? Does she come with a game plan to try to provoke him? And are there any risks if that's her strategy? If she's got some lines of attack that are designed to get some kind of reaction from him, is there a risk there for her in doing that?
Well, I don't think so, because she's a very, very... One thing about Hillary Clinton is she is steely and she is tough. And I'm sure she's going to come with some stilettos to plant in his ribs, and I'm sure they're going to be planted there. And the question for Donald Trump is, how does he react? Does he react in a way that's presidential, or does he overreact? I think he'll overreact like he's always done before, and when he does, I think Hillary Clinton will pounce.
Well, we'll see, Steve. Let me just say real quick, I think the expectations for Hillary are really through the roof. People expect her to win this debate. The problem for Hillary is she kind of retreats into her big policy books. She doesn't speak to the American people. She speaks to the inside the Beltway crowd, and that's a danger for her because Donald Trump speaks to the wider audience. He doesn't get into deep policy discussions. And for Hillary, she also has a stamina problem. Is she going to be able to handle, with the frustration of dealing with a Donald Trump who doesn't really answer her questions, doesn't really play by her playbook, and you're never quite sure what Donald Trump's going going to come up with. Can she handle that? Does she have the stamina to handle dealing with Donald Trump for 90 minutes?
All right, John Feehery, Steve McMahon, again, 4 days away till that big first debate. Thanks to both of you for joining us.